good day,
All right.
good life, and go fuck yourself.
All right, get the mustache on. We're gonna go to Denny's.
The mustache won't stick anymore. Fuck off, you son of a bitch.
No, we're going to Denny's. Come on, let's go. Let's get anything you want.
Going where? We're not going anywhere but the fucking bed, you
No.
motherfucker.
Then let's go somewhere else. Let's drive somewhere.
I'll go in the fucking bed. Go somewhere else. You're a fucking animal. You're a fucking animal. Go fuck yourself.
Hey, when are people gonna see us? When are people gonna see us again?
2 fucking weeks. I don't give a fuck anymore. Fucking animal.
All right, seriously, let's get going to Denny's. Anything you want, on me.
Kiss my fucking ass.
All right, good night, Perry. Good job. Good season finale. Good season finale.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Good night, Perry.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you seriously fucking kidding me?
What happened? What happened? What
I
happened?
lost Bluetooth.
Where'd it go?
Somewhere underneath my bed.
Well, you got to find it.
Well, good night, and I'll find it.
Well, let's
Goodbye.
find it now.
We're done. Goodbye.
Well, let's find it. This is important. Good night, everybody.
Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny. Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny.
They call me Ricky Ho. They call me Ricky Ho. That's right. That's right. They call me Ricky Ho. They call me Ricky Ho. They call me Ricky Ho. That's right. That's right. They call me Ricky Ho.
Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny. Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny. Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny.
All right. Good night, Perry. I didn't want to see you in the nude, so I cut that early.
Can't believe I won the contest. I also can't believe you didn't fucking dab for me after I donated the subs. You're a fart bag. Hashtag dab scam, bones.
You do owe Phantom Green a dab if you want to come back.
What?
Phantom Green, you owe him a dab.
I am so pissed.
Did you find it yet? I don't want to sign off until I know you found it.
I can't believe that it's gone.
It's not gone. If it's in the apartment, it's not gone.
None of the lights.
Yeah, it's going to be rough to edit that together. Pot awful. Don't even bother. Hey, Jay. Are you still looking for it?
Yes! God damn it!
Are you sure it? Are you sure it went under the bed?
That's where I'm looking. Son of a bitch.
All right. Well, if you find it, we can do another hour easy. I'll tell you what. I'll even bring you.
Get the fuck out of here! Go to fucking sleep!
I'll even put you back on after. I know I said no more after hours, but let's do 2 hours with Perry.
I
and
don't
after
want to do
hours.
your after hours shit, you son of a bitch!
Hey, I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bump Selma Hayek for you.
I don't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself.
Bad Branson. Thanks for all you do, Tom. Lots of laughs in a time when the world has lost its mind. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate that. Rob, never say never. Never say never.
Where did you go? I don't fucking believe this. Scary as fuck. Why are you not here? You fell right here.
It's got to be there.
It's gotta be fucking here.
And that one's brand new, too. Phantom Green says that he's going to cancel his usual $5,000 after hours donation if you don't dab for him. Come on, I can't lose an after hours donation.
I'm gonna turn the goddamn computer off.
No, come on. You owe me dab. What's up, Mr. Patsy? Blue J29, thanks, TomB. Amazing Mario voice. Thank you.
I'm in my diaper.
I don't have the camera. I don't have the camera on. You can be wearing whatever you want. You're just hearing me. I don't have the camera on.
I am so disgusted that I can't find.
What happened? Were you jumping up and down or something?
It fell right here somewhere.
It's got to be there, dude. You want me to send Garrett over? He's willing to come over and help you look.
He's not coming over here this hour. You fucking animals!
He's 20 minutes away. You can be there in 20 minutes, and
I don't give a shit. Shut the fuck up. You're not allowed here.
he said he'll pick up some Del Taco.
Get the fuck out of here!
Or whatever you want. Doesn't have to be Del Taco. Could be Taco Bell, but I would recommend against.
Hell! All of you! Fucking assholes! Son of a bitch! I'll find it tomorrow!
You should really
If
find
I
you.
find
You should really
tomorrow.
find it now because I don't want you to forget about it.
Well, get off my goddamn computer!
How's that going to help you find it?
Shit!
Why don't you go back out on the ring cam as Wario and let's try take 3 of that song again.
I'm not kissing my motherfucking ass! You son of a bitch!
No, I don't prefer that option. I prefer my option.
Tough! Shut the computer off in 5 minutes. You're on.
Oh, I guarantee you I'll be on. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. It's the last stream for a while, man. You know, I mean, you could pull it together.
I am.
Why don't we just come back and do Sunday? Let's just do a subscriber Sunday starting at 10 a.m. Pacific.
That is. Where the fuck are you?
Well, I guess people have to wait 2 weeks now to find out if you find the Bluetooth or not. Can you just sit down and do this dab for Phantom Green, who won our contest tonight? The guy did gift you a lot of subs. Can you give him the?
Shut up!
Can you give him the decency of one? I'm just asking for one dab. Thank you for subscribing. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not looking for anything else. Rest One said, "The stream is everything I hoped it would be. Thank you, Tom. Best of luck on your next meeting." Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. You ready to do the dab and then I'll go?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about doing your dab.
Dab him what?
Just say thank you for the gifted subs. Thank you for subscribing. You know, he's our contest winner tonight. I think he's owed a little
I already
something.
said that.
No, you didn't do the dab though. See,
Say fucking thing over and over again. Fuck everybody.
no, but you didn't do the dab. You didn't do the hands. That's the problem. That's what we're
Kiss
faced with.
my ass, motherfucker.
I don't want to have a scam on our hands. I'll go into break. It's going to be bad.
Stand on our fucking hands.
I know.
God damn.
I know.
Tired of yelling.
I'm tired of you yelling at me. Somebody in the chat said, "Did you check your ear? Is it in your ear?"
It's on my daytimer now.
You got it? You found it? Wait, you found it?
Yes.
Okay, can you just come back and do the dab and then we'll all go to bed happy?
Nothing to dab.
The
Just gotta
dab.
get plugged in.
The dab. Sorry, wait, I didn't mean to turn that on. Sorry, that was triggered because it was playing earlier.
Liar.
Now listen, Phantom Green, give him eye contact, and look at the camera and say thank you for the gifted subs and do the full hands.
Let me open this.
Yeah, that tattoo is really awful.
Go fuck yourself.
Sorry, I didn't know my mic was on. I'm sorry, I was talking to myself. Sorry.
Lying bastard.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you could hear that.
It's a good tattoo, and it was a well done tattoo.
That's debatable.
Fucking loser. By a very good artist.
Oh, please. Now you're making me laugh.
Nothing is to happen to the arm ever. Good night. The
Hold on.
computer is being shut off right now.
No, you can't. I disabled that. Can you just do the hands, please? The hands to Phantom
Good
Green.
night.
No, Phantom Green. Look at it. Say Phantom Green. Thank you for the gifted subs, and do the hands.
Phantom Green, thank you for the gifted subs. Good night.
No, hands. Do the hands.
Hands. Fucking hands.
No,
you
the dab.
son of a bitch.
The dab. You got to do the
Good
dab.
night, you motherfucker.
Do the dab. Do the dab. You can't turn off the computer. I'll turn it off for you if you do it right. Just say Phantom Green, thank you for the gifted subs.
Phantom Green, thank you very much for the gifted subs. Good night.
No, you gotta do it as Wario. Wario.
Fuck off. Okay, fuck off. I'm not doing it anymore. We're done. We're fucking done.
Favorite Joe Pesci movie that's not Goodfellas? Favorite Joe Pesci movie that's not Goodfellas? What's your favorite Joe Pesci movie that's not Goodfellas?
We're fucking done. Bitch.
You didn't answer my question.
I'm not going to, you prick.
Just give me a Joe Pesci movie that's not Goodfellas that you enjoyed. All right, guys, this is going to be the 24-hour stream starting right
I
now.
don't know what I'm fucking doing. I don't have a goddamn movie. Because I'm tired of your shit.
Is it Home Alone? Is it Casino?
Maybe it's Casino, okay? Good night.
Yeah, My Cousin Vinny, I think, is the right answer. I think it's My Cousin
Out of
Vinny.
this apartment because you're making me scream all fucking night, you jag off.
My Cousin Vinny. He's really good in Home Alone, though.
Good night.
Lil Gaper wants to know, what's Perry's favorite
Good
thing?
night, motherfucker.
What's Perry's favorite thing? Gone Fishing. That's a great answer. Did you ever see Gone Fishing with Danny Glover and Joe Pesci?
Mustache is trash.
No, don't throw it away. Save it. Save it. I can restore it.
I'm turning the goddamn computer off, and if you don't think you can fuck with me.
All right, go ahead. Can you answer you answered the question of what's your favorite Joe Pesci movie? That's not Goodfellas.
I don't know, motherfucker. Casino.
Okay, that's interesting. Favorite Scorsese
Get off
movie.
my fucking computer. Shut it off right now, or I turn the goddamn electricity off.
Favorite Scorsese movie that's not Casino or Goodfellas.
Bye. Fucking asshole. Shutting the whole goddamn thing off.
Favorite Scorsese movie
Movie.
that's not
Goodbye.
Casino or Goodfellas. Oh, did he actually do it? Oh, look at that. He actually did it. All right, well, good night, Perry. Sweet Prince. Oh, wait, no, I see. He didn't shut it off, did he? Hang on. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I wanted to see. He had the. Okay, no, he's gone. He's gone. Anyway, Wolf of Wall Street. Really, I think Wolf of Wall Street is so. I don't want to say the word. Overrated, but it's just not as good. But it's got its moments. J Doe, Tom, you are so right. I love you. I love you too, Jay. I love everybody. Yeah, I got to agree with that. It is De Niro at his finest. Yeah, I never saw it With Honors. I was always turned off by that movie. Just the idea of it. Didn't like it. That's where he plays the homeless guy with Brendan Fraser. Bedman says, I like Cape Fear too. It's very strange. I've got issues with it. I think it's miscast in certain places. Will says, thanks for the great stream, TomB. Thank you, Will. Thanks for hanging out. Hey, look, I'll miss you guys too. We'll all miss you guys. But like I said, stay tuned. We're gonna pop up. And thanks, Jesse. Great stream despite the monkey. Thanks, TomB. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that. Check out Pod Awful, by the way, everybody. What's great about Taxi Driver is it captures that period of time in New York City so perfectly, and it's just always there. I like every moment of it, where like even when Travis walks, there's one part where he walks into this like bodega, like deli place, and they have these things on the shelves, these cookies, these Nabisco cookies that I used to get when I was a kid. They don't make them anymore, I don't think, but they're always in this one scene where he goes in and I see the box, and it has this very nostalgic pull for me, which I really like. But it's good. It's one of those things where it's where you gotta love the 70s. Is the 70s were all about having movies where like there's no clear cut like hero. Like Travis is not necessarily an antagonist or a protagonist. He's just a guy that you follow through the movie. He's just a guy that we're watching, and he's disturbed. He's troubled. He's whatever, but he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just the guy that the movie focuses on, and I love that about 70s films. You don't really get that anymore. You know, like movies, if you're following a character, they have to be one way or the other, or like, you know, you can follow a bad guy, but he's got to have good qualities. But this is just, you know, he's just a guy. He's just a random guy. There's loads of 70s movies like that. Penitentiary just got home. What did I miss? You missed a lot. You missed Perry. You missed the WarioWare stream. I love that scene too. Belly full of swans. See that lady up in that window? That's my wife. That's my wife. I'm gonna shoot her. I love everything about it. I mean, in fact, talking about Taxi Driver makes me want to see it. Like, I want to watch it like right now. That's what's so painful when you look at that movie and De Niro's performance in it, and then you see like, you know, Dirty Grandpa or like Rocky and anything really in the past like 20 plus years that he's done outside of a couple of notable decent films. It's so weird when you see him in like Meet the Parents or something like that. Willa Joe, shout out TomB, great stream. Thank you. I wanted to go out strong. I wanted to, and by the way, if this was a dud tonight for some reason, I was gonna probably scramble together a stream for Sunday, but I don't think it was. I think it was pretty good. And you know, and some of those WarioWare games worked. Someone did it. I kind of just, I went to the dollar store early in the week, and I just wanted to get a couple of little stupid games, mainly just to like have clips of, you know, to like maybe tag Nintendo in or something. And I think I couldn't believe that he did not win the 3-card Monte thing with the ball and the cups, where he's the one controlling the cups and the ball. When he lifted up the cup and he was wrong, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Mr. Asif, tears were rolling down my face during the 92 segment. That's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad. Yeah, Omega Cloud says De Niro has the largest fall of grace, and he wasn't crazy about The Irishman. I go back and forth on The Irishman. I got to see it again to really form an opinion, but I don't want to invest all that time in it when there's so many other things that I want to check out, you know. In a way, The Irishman feels like a very well-produced TV movie, like a Lifetime movie almost. It feels made for TV, that's the thing. And I saw it in the theater. I'm one of the few people that saw it in the theater. But, yeah, I get... Irishman's one of those movies where I get the criticisms and I get the praises for it, too, at the same time. And I don't know where I fall. I'm very easily that's one movie I'm very easily influenced on. I usually have a very hard opinion in one way or the other. Irishman, I'm like kind of right in the middle of like this soft, pillowy middle, and somebody can pull me over to one side that says the movie's a masterpiece, and someone can also pull me over to the other side to say that it's a piece of shit. I don't know. Pacino as Hoffa, just being Pacino didn't work for. Yeah, he was a little dialed down as Pacino, but I get what you're saying. Jack Nicholson did a much better Hoffa. Much better. Hero says the Irishman works, but it's better to downgrade your resolution to 72p or lower. It counteracts the shitty CGI. Yeah, that's one thing. It's just like, how do you not get that right? How do I like WarioWare? I only scratched the surface with it today because it came out today and I was playing it. It's a lot of fun. I like it. I don't like all the characters in it. I like Wario. I like a couple of people. There's a couple of characters that are just really meaningless. What did I think about After Hours? Saw it on a plane recently and really liked it. The movie After Hours? That sounds familiar. Refresh my memory on that. Is it because I hate Irish people, Tommy? Yeah. Well, because De Niro really looks Irish, too. He really sells that character. Nothing tops the time I role-played as Christina being offered the cake, but this retelling was pretty good. Favorite Robin Williams movie? That's tough because I don't love Robin Williams, but I think I'm going to go with Good Morning Vietnam as the and Good Morning Vietnam is one of those movies where I watched it too young because I was a kid when it came out, and I watched it like way too young, and you know, it's funny. I'm looking up I never saw After Hours. I've never seen it. I've always wanted to. I never saw it, and I should probably see it, right? So yeah, I'll put After Hours on my watch list. Yeah, now that I look it up, I know exactly what it is. The Scorsese comedy. I'll check it out. But anyway, getting back to Good Morning Vietnam, I like it, and it's one of those movies that I've seen bits and pieces of it as an adult. I watched it an incredibly amount. For some reason, I think I had a VHS of it or something like that, and I just watched it a lot because I liked it as a kid, but I didn't get it. And there's one great line in the movie, and it's one of those things, and I wonder how many people have this kind of what do you call it? It's basically when you don't get a joke in a movie as a kid, and then you get it later in life, and you're like, you know, because it's like, why is that funny? And I remember I remember watching. I must have watched it with like my parents or something like that. And I remember them laughing at the scene. Anyway, Robin Williams is what's his character's name? Adrian Cronauer, and he's on the radio, and he's reading like the AP feed or whatever. And he has that good line about the protective dike, and he's reading a thing. He's like, oh, and da 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 da, and there's a protective dike, and then he goes into this voice, and he's like, yeah, they have a protective dike down there, and he's like, don't go down there, please, don't go down there, hey. And as a kid, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what a protective dike was. I didn't know what a actual that term was. I didn't know what it referenced to, and then years and years later, when I was an adult and the scene came back up, I was like, oh, and I laughed. I was like, oh, that's actually very funny. I never understood it as a kid. And there's so many things like that, like movies that I almost have memorized as a kid, but there's a gag in the movie that I don't get, and it could be a sexual thing, it could be just something that a kid doesn't get or understand, and then I still know it in my head as a kid, but never put it together, and then as an adult I see it. Yeah. There's got to be 1,000 examples like that. Jimmy jumps out. Have I seen Boardwalk Empire? Yeah, I liked it a lot. I watched it as it aired, every season. I enjoyed it. Maybe apart from one season, but I liked it. Didn't love the ending, but that's really to be said about every. It could be said about any film. Favorite David Cronenberg? That's a good question. He's not one of my favorites. I really like Dead Ringers. I also like The Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. But Jeremy Irons in Dead Ringers is great. The bar that wanted naked pics of Walter Brennan. Yeah, I didn't know who Walter Brennan was either. I still kind of don't, but I understand the reference a little better now. Hang on, guys. 1 second, please. I'll be right back. Sorry, my dad calling me. And it never calls at this hour, but I forgot he was out late, and I asked him to call me when he got home. So, sorry. No, I wasn't taking a sneaky. I took a sneaky pee earlier, actually, when Perry took one. I try to time my pees with Perry sometimes. Rick, good night, demons. Thanks to Tom, Joey Hero, Garrett, and anyone I'm missing. Great season and finale. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. Yeah, and it's funny. Like I kind of joke around about the season finale thing because I like the idea of a season finale, but this really does feel like one because this is the first break we've had. There was a good, I forget the name of it. There was a good Cronenberg movie I saw. God, it had to be 20 years ago. With Jennifer Jason Leigh and I think Jason Patrick. Was it called Existence? Very, I remember liking it, seeing it in the theater, but again, I don't know how that would play now. Am I still allowed to have your Discord tier? You'll have to refresh my memory. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Tom Brennan? No, I'm gonna say no to that. I don't want it. So if I don't have it, nobody's gonna have it. Existence, yeah, with a Z. Is it still good? Like, has anybody seen it recently? Does it hold up? I remember liking it and thinking it was good. Belly full of swans. I know TomB hates it, but I love Dead Poet Society. That's cool. I know. Look, I know a lot of people like Dead Poet Society. It's just one of those things that just doesn't. It doesn't do anything for me. I think did Robin Williams win the Academy? I think he won or got nominated. I know he was nominated for Good Morning Vietnam, and then was Michael Douglas won, which of course he should have. I don't think as good as Robin Williams was in that. Favorite David Lynch? That's a tougher question. And David Lynch is one of those filmmakers like I hate weird for the sake of being weird, but I like his I like his 90s movies the best. I like Wild at Heart. I actually like Lost Highway, as bizarre and kind of unrewarding as that film is. But as far as the geez. I'd have to really think about that. Tom, my uncle sent a link of Howard Stern's "What About My Freedom to Live" quote to our family chat, and it made me think of you. Oh my God, I only heard about that. I can't imagine. I can't imagine how bad that is. I gotta say, I gotta admit something. I've never seen Mulholland Drive. It's one of those. I have this list. I have a Word document that I made for myself. Geez, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now, and I just started to write down all of the big movies. Even though that's not a big movies, but I wrote a big list of movies that I probably should see that I haven't seen, and I've gone through a lot of them over time. Like on the list originally was Scarface. I had never seen Scarface, and I saw that a few years ago for the first time, which is crazy because it's such a big movie. Here it says Twin Peaks is the only Lynch I can tolerate, and even that, yeah, I don't know, Twin Peaks is. I've tried so many times to get into Twin Peaks, like actually watch it from the original pilot in the first season, and I've come in and out of it, but man, I can't get in. I can't wrap my head. And that last series, I couldn't even watch at any length. Did I know there's a Brennan's Market in Madison, Wisconsin? No, I didn't. And I've been in Madison. I've been to Wisconsin quite a bit. Worst cartoon based on a live action movie. My vote is Problem Child or RoboCop gets it raw. I didn't see Problem Child. I'll tell you what the best is. It might be Police Academy. The Police Academy cartoon is actually very very good. And we just lost Art Matrano this week, who's I know we've talked about the Police Academy movies, who played Mauser in is it Captain Mauser in Police Academy 2 and 3. He passed away this week. Oh, he won Best Supporting for Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting is another movie I don't get. Don't get it. And I never saw. I don't think Good Will Hunting plays now. I feel like it's very dated to its era. It's just I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, I forgot about the Beetlejuice cartoon. I completely forgot about it. Oh, I'm catching up on Chad. Hannah brings that. The Fisher King is great. Fisher King's very, very, very underrated. Fisher King with Jeff Bridges is great in it. Mercedes Ruehl's in that. She's great in it. That's a great movie. Really good movie. It's I think I forgot how I saw that. I think I saw it on HBO or something like that years ago. That's a really good movie. And that's a movie, and I don't like Robin Williams. So if I can enjoy Robin Williams in a movie, it's a good movie. I always found him annoying. I hated watching him on talk shows. If he was on any late night show, I turned it off. Just couldn't stand him. Billy Foot Swans. Mulholland Drive is a step above Lost Highway. Lost Highway has the better soundtrack there. Yeah, great soundtrack in that. I never got the Fisher King. Saw it young, but didn't care for it. Yeah, maybe rewatch it. I saw it pretty young too, and I liked it. But again, when you haven't seen something in a long time, you have to evaluate: is this worth watching now as an adult? And if I watch it, is it going to change? Is it going to be for the better or for the worse? And my thing now is just having the time, being the ripe old age that I am. Everything I watch, I as far as a film goes, and even getting involved in that's why I haven't seen any new shows. I don't know, people mention shows to me. I don't watch any new shows. But I have to think about, is this worth my time? Time's more precious to me now, especially doing this and all the other things that take up your time. And do you want to sit down and take away 2 hours of your life by watching something that may not be up to it? So I'm more picky about how I choose to. It's like when you get old, like how you weed out people sometimes in your life when you get older. You don't want to hang out with somebody that's going to suck your life away. That's somebody that's going to waste your time. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna. Korath says slowest movie ever, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I wanted to see that because I really like Gary Oldman, but I never got around to it. No, I never watched Eraserhead. Penna, I never saw it. And I can't speak if it's like weird for the sake of weird or not. But what a film that is, like Napoleon Dynamite. I remember when I came out and like everybody like. It was like this cult hit, but I just thought it fell on this thing where it was just like weird for the sake of being weird, like a little too, like when a movie tries to be weird. If it's legitimately weird and it's quirky, that's one thing. Did I ever get into any brawls with my buddies in my late teens and 20s? Not with my buddies, but I got into plenty of brawls. That's for sure. Not with my friends though. I'm trying to think if I ever came. No, I never had a fight with a friend, like a really good friend. Not in my teens and 20s. At grammar school, yes, but not with buddies. Not with like something turns weird. But I did. Last fight I had was like 2007. That was the last fight and that was not I did not instigate it at all. But yeah, I gotten a few, but more with assholes, like not friends. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite did have a cartoon, right? I didn't see it, of course, because I wasn't a huge fan. You felt like Napoleon Dynamite was actually quirky because it was legitimately funny. Yeah, I get it. I laughed at it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just felt it pushed that quirk envelope for me. And we all have a different barometer. My quirk barometer is different than yours, of course. But like, I just thought it pushed it a little to like, okay, now they're just trying to be weird. Never saw Welcome to the Dollhouse. Never saw it. Oh, that's right. Let's bring Mask and Dumb and Dumber had bad cartoons. Yeah, that's right. Did you ever see that movie? I think it's the same guy that did Welcome to the Dollhouse. It was called Happiness. I remember a friend pushing that on me, and I just, oh boy, did I hate. It's one of my most hated movies. I hate that movie. Absolutely hate it. Thoughts on Andy Kaufman? I love Andy Kaufman. I always think of it, Andy Kaufman. I always try to think of it like a timeline because I think he was about, when he passed away, I kind of think he was about to do something different, like change things up. And I posted this on my Facebook. I think it was back in December. It was a long time ago now. But I found this random clip. It's my favorite Andy Kaufman thing, and he's not doing shtick. It's the only thing I've ever found where he's not doing a bit. Where he's doing the Merv Griffin show, but it's being guest hosted by Orson Welles of all people. Orson Welles was guest hosting, and he did a really good job. It's just this little clip on YouTube. It made me want to see like the whole week of shows that Orson Welles was doing. But he comes out and he's in his neck brace, and he's about, you could tell he's got something in his hand, like a videotape or a book or something, and you could tell he has a bit planned. But he sits down with Orson Welles, who's interviewing him, and Welles disarms him immediately. He's just this towering presence and personality, and I think Kaufman had a lot of respect for him. And he didn't even try anything. He was just like, Welles actually complimented him and said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your work. I love Taxi and your character, and you're great. You're such a good actor. You know, you're such a good comedian and actor. Why are you wasting your time at wrestling? And you can just tell. You can look at the moment. You can look at the moment in that video. You can look at the very moment. You can see it in Kaufman's eyes, where he just switched off. Like, okay, I'm not doing any shtick here. I can't. It's Orson Welles. Welles just like dominated him. It was just it's an amazing piece of video. So go on YouTube, just look up Andy Kaufman, Orson Welles, see this little interview, because I saw it recently, and Jesus, it just blew me away. I've watched it so many times since. It's just a great two people talking to each other. You know, and really, if you think about it, Orson Welles is the original Andy Kaufman. When you really break it down, if you look at the the War of the Worlds, you know, the whole thing, you know, where he's doing the dramatic interpretation of the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds, and he's reading it like a newscast, and trolled the entire world at a time where there was no trolling, there was none of that. He was really the first guy. Orson Welles is ground zero for like pulling that kind of thing. And he did it on a radio broadcast, and it still made headlines, and it was brilliant. So I think Wells had to have respect for that, and and it was just a mutual admiration society. But God, Wells is just this, it's had to be like what, 83 maybe, the interview. Jesus. Look at the outtakes of a commercial Orson Welles did while plow drunk. Yeah, that gets a lot of play. Orson Welles in the 70s and of that time, he was kind of just like lost and taking gigs that he probably shouldn't have, like commercials like that, and getting sauced on their cheap wine. But I love Orson Welles, and like I think why I found that clip is I just had so many interviews with him, like from like Dick Cavett and stuff. That's this kind of shit that I watch on YouTube. I'll watch a 1975 Dick Cavett interview with Orson Welles over any other thing, pretty much. Fan agree. Oh, your aunt was at the Kaufman Carnegie Hall show. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, I was getting to this originally. Oh, it's 82. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, look it up. Do yourself a favor and look up Kaufman and Orson Welles on YouTube. And yeah, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I posted it. I don't post that much, but I posted it a while back. But I think about Kaufman, like I wonder what Kaufman would have been like in 1988, for example, and then what he would have been like in 94 or in the late 90s or in the 2000, you know what I mean, like how he would have adapted, because he wouldn't have been doing the same thing. But yeah. Yeah, so anyway, the long drawn out answer to the question is I absolutely love Kaufman. I don't love all Kaufman though. There's some things that he does that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like I don't go with him everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not like worshiping at his temple. I like, oh, everything is great. I think most things are great. That I'm with 90% of his stuff, which is good for anybody, I guess. But yeah, so thoughts on Cornette? Who's that? Johnny Pretzels, Cornette. I'm not getting on that name alone. Bellyful Swans, I liked Happiness a lot. Great Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, Happiness is just way too creepy for me. Couldn't get into it. Day Thinker, stay safe, everyone. Look forward to the new season in 2 weeks. Yeah, it might be sooner than 2 weeks. We might come back that Wednesday. I don't know. I got to feel it out. I got to see. There's a lot of variables right now. Look for the 25th as the day back. It could be Wednesday the 22nd, but most likely the 25th. Oh, Jim Cornette. I love Jim. I think I thought that might be who you're talking about. Yeah, he comes up in my YouTube all the time too. Recently. Yeah, I think he's a very interesting guy. I've seen clips of his podcast too, which is interesting. Ooh, you missed the stream. Oh, we'll catch it tomorrow on Patreon because it was good. Yeah, I was looking. You know what? You know where Jim Cornette came up because I was on this Bobby Heenan binge a couple of weeks ago, and I finally almost got through every single thing that that I could pop through, and then he came up, and then I switched, and that's kind of where I am. So yeah, I want to check out his podcast. I haven't had time, but I want to check out his podcast. I heard his. I've seen little like the clips I've seen. It sounds interesting. And he's a really interesting guy, and he's a good talker, which of course is important. Tony Clifton rules. Yeah, I like. And again, I like Tony. I like Tony. A lot of people don't like Tony Clifton. I like Tony Clifton. That's one of the things I like. And says I think Moenstown is really going to grow over the break. Yeah, you're probably right. That I haven't seen that a long time. The My Breakfast with Blassie, I think it was called, where Andy Kaufman has breakfast with Freddie Blassie. That's another thing too, where I think Andy is pretty real in that one. He's obviously he's doing a little bit of shtick, but he's not full on shtick because I think it depends on who he's talking to and who he respects. You know who he and I think he really respected Freddie Blassie. Cornette is good when he's railing on Vince Russo, but he's got some Abe Simpson yelling at the clouds vibes, talking about modern wrestling. Yeah, but is anybody really a fan of mod? I don't. Out of all the people I know that were wrestling fans or into wrestling, nobody really watches now, or at least not WWE. And I don't. Yeah, it's funny. Vince Russo is an era that I miss. I don't know anything about him. I just know everybody hates him, and I know he was bad for WCW, and but I don't know anything about him. I just know that people hate him. That was a period of time where I just was not invested or watching or anything like that. AEW is something like I hear that. I hear a lot of people talking about that. Like it's a good promotion. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard, and even like I see a lot of YouTube like how bad WWE is, and it's a bummer because you know who's running it right now. Like Vince is so old now. It's like think about how long he's been doing it. Russo wrote the best wrestling shows on the planet. Stay mad. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that just don't like. I don't have a dog in the race with Vince Russo because I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. Wrestling was better with characters. It was also better with managers, and a lot of the stuff I loved about wrestling was the stuff that happened outside of the ring. There was this thing, it's like, yeah, I could never get invested in it again. Oh, was Triple H running things? Jesus. But I heard that Vince wants to sell WWE. It's gotta be so hard to maintain though, because you figure like you're doing like how many shows a week? It never stops. It never ends. For me, I checked out a little bit when, and this is a long time ago, when they did a pay-per-view every month. I liked it when it was 4 a year. You had SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and then the big one, WrestleMania, and that was enough. But now it just, I don't know, it just watered it down. So I can't get into it. But like I said, the last time I was into it was like 2004, 2005. That was the last time I dipped my foot in those waters. Stephanie and Triple H running to be with a senile Vince. Is he senile? That would be sad because Vince is such. God, something popped up in my YouTube, not to get on a whole wrestling tangent, but somebody popped up on my YouTube where it was like a 1978 house show at Madison Square Garden, and Vince is there on mic hustling, and he's doing the commentary, and I was just like, man, this guy's been doing it for so long. Can you imagine? Because it's like, I almost look at it like PCL in a weird way, because like it's a lot of work to drive 3 streams per week, you know, and like, you know, just getting all that organized, and that's just this silly stream. Can you imagine, like, just on such a level that Vince is at, or was at, where he's you know, got his hands in everything. He's doing creative, he's doing business and everything for all these years. Every week, it's just got to be physically draining. No breaks either, because it's always moving forward. You're always moving forward. You're always progressing storylines and things like that. With, like, you know, then things pay off, some things don't, and it just goes on. It's a never-ending thing. That's sad to hear that Vince has gone mentally. That's a real bummer, because no matter what you think about him, the guy is just an incredible dominant force. So to hear that he's lost his faculties in any way is really sad. You know, you just see what, you know, a giant of a human being he was. You know. Perry cuts a fired up wrestling promo. Yeah, I've always like, I kind of like, in a weird way, relate at least PCL to wrestling in a weird way, because it has a lot of vibes to that in terms of the creative and the performance and stuff, you know, at least on Perry's end, you know, like like cutting a promo against like DSP or something like that, you know. There are some parallels there. But yeah, I have like some of one of my dad's good friends is kind of on that level, where he was just, I remember as a kid, this guy was always like a funny guy. He was always a great storyteller, and he still is in many ways. But he's lost a couple of steps, and he repeats himself and things like that, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see like somebody who was that, you know. It's like when you hear like an actor that you liked, or you know, somebody that was, I don't know, it could be anybody, and then you hear they fade out of the public eye. Then you hear whispers like, oh, they have dementia, or oh, they have that. Yeah, David Milch is a great example. Devastating. I mean, God, it's so cruel. Life is so cruel. David Milch having Alzheimer's, one of the most brilliant minds ever. Jesus, and that's a good way to put it, belly full of swans. Before him, there were none. After him, there will be no more. Yeah, there's nobody that's writing like him. There's nobody, absolutely nobody. Like I'll watch, not now, but I've gone back and watched like old NYPD Blue episodes just to get a little whiff of his writing, or his dialogue writing. It inspires me to be a better writer or something. You know, it's just, he's so good. Yeah, everybody goes to Deadwood and stuff, which is phenomenal, but everything he touched was great. Every single thing, and he's such a brilliant guy. And to hear that it just makes it, just, you know, not to get all philosophical or anything, or like anti-religion, but how can I believe in a God that does that? How can I believe in a God that just, you know, takes away somebody like David Milch, you know, a brilliant mind like that, and that you're just robbing? You know, it's like going back to Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan, one of the greatest talkers of all time. Great talent, enormous talent. And again, I put him up against anybody. I put him up against Rickles. Really, and I know that sounds insane, but I think he could hold his own. He's such good. The guy gets throat cancer. And at a period of time where he probably could have had the best podcast out there. Bobby Heenan. I imagine if Bobby Heenan's still alive, you know, he'd have some kick-ass podcast, and just completely robbed of the last 15 years of his life. throat cancer, for Christ's sake. It's you can go on and on. You can think of so many artists that just get these cruel things, and it's just, I don't know. I have a really hard time with it. I really struggle with that. It's like, how could I believe in a higher power or some loving God when they take somebody, when they do that? And those are the famous examples. Those are the famous examples. It's just not fair. It's not right. It's not right. What happened to somebody like Bobby Heenan, or and he did. He I almost wish I didn't, because I really dive deep on Bobby Heenan, and like, man, that he really went through it. But yeah, and I'm sure people know, like, there's people, those are the famous examples, but there's people in your life that I'm sure It's just, God, it's just such bullshit. There's some friggin' animal outside making noise. I don't know if you can pick this, if that's getting picked up on the mic. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer. There's another I just had an example in my head and I lost it. Somebody else in that same situation where it's like, oh man. Well, like Roger Ebert's another one. He had throat cancer. Yeah, Jimmy Jonestown just said the same thing. Somebody that used his, he was still a very important voice, and then, it's just completely robbed of it. Just I don't know how they have lives like that. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I don't think I could have the constitution, or I don't even know what the right word is. I was going to say discipline. I think it's more than that. The will to live day to day. I mean, you can't even eat anymore. You can't do anything. Your mouth is your reconstructive jaw surgery is what happened. Same thing happened to Bobby Heenan and Roger Ebert, and they're unrecognizable in their later years because of these horrible surgeries, because of this goddamn cancer. And by the way, Perry said that I had cancer. I don't have cancer. My phone started blowing up. Perry made a little flippant remark that, like, I forget what he said. He's like, oh, he mentioned the C word. I don't have cancer. So that's I just want to get that out there. But yeah, it's just nasty. It's just sad. It's sad that people, and then I think you get to a certain age too. I'm past that age now, by the way. But you get to the age where people that you grew up admiring start passing away. And all of a sudden, yeah, and the mental ward too. That's another place I was going. Perry might put me there. But yeah, I don't know why he said, like, I don't know why he said that. I was just like, wait, what? I never said that. It's so weird. I think he was trying to be sincere and prominent in the moment, but I was just like, what? That doesn't ring true. Do you know something I don't? Yeah. So anyway, that's not that's off the table. Oh, you want to hear something funny? I'll tell you a funny anecdote. Here's something funny. So I wanted to open tonight with I wanted to open PCL with a cold open. A cold open, like him just on the Ring camera and coming in and then playing the intro, and then he's back in. That, which took, the way Streamlabs is set up, it's a kind of a pain in the ass to pull that off. But I suggested it to him earlier when he was getting dressed as Wario or something like that, or right before. I said, hey, why don't we do a cold open for the stream? He's like, are you fucking crazy? No fucking way. It's fucking in the 90s today, okay? It's like 94 degrees outside. I'm not going to do a fucking cold open. And then I just sat there and I was just like, oh, okay. What if we open the show just you on the Ring camera? Fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Like, okay. I just know not to. I know not to use industry terms with him. But I thought that was amusing. Like I don't know what he was expecting. Like what? Like I don't like what was he expecting that to be? Like yes, turn your air conditioner to like 40 and let's get it real. I want to see your breath. I want a real cold open, like you're freezing. You know, let's whatever we got to do. Let's just get blocks of ice in there, fans. It's just like, it made me laugh though. Remember when Perry did a hoax about going to Mental Ward years ago? Yeah, that was a little before my time. But I think he actually thinks he was there. And sometimes when like little kids lie, they lie about something so much that they actually project themselves into the lie like it really happened. I thought that today. Yeah, so do I think that he'll remember what Jib has explained? No. I'm going to place my bet right now that the first person to mention Jib in a comment when we come back, he's going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? You know, what does Jib mean? So, yeah, no, my bet's on he doesn't remember. He was barely paying attention to it. It's so important to him to know what this means, but he was barely receptive of it when he heard it. So what's everybody gonna do with themselves? I'm talking to the regular. Like, what are you gonna do with yourselves now that like on Sunday, for example, with you know, are you gonna read a book or find something else to watch or something? It's gonna be weird for me, like Sunday. Like I haven't not done this on a Sunday in a long time because we've been going like this schedule has been going since like early like February or something like that. So it's gonna be very strange to me not to do this. Yeah, he was completely oblivious to what it said. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not a football guy, but I know a lot of people get into football. Gonna lay out by my pool. That sounds good to me. Oh, Garrett, you sent me a message. Cool. That's usually a good sign when Garrett sends me a message. Oh, he did the. All right, no, I haven't seen it, so I guess I'll watch it. Garrett already chopped up the '92 story. All right, we'll take a look. Thanks, Garrett. By the way, Garrett gets those really quickly together. We'll just watch this. If you're joining late, that's Perry's. Okay, we don't need that. Give me 1 second while I find this. Thanks for the heads up. I wasn't looking at my phone. Okay, this will be interesting. By the way, I gotta say, this is somebody else said this is my all-time favorite costume, the Wario guy. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there that have no idea who Wario is or anything like that, but I loved it. When I first saw him in it before the stream started, I melted a little bit inside. All right, so this is the the Wario Mario thing. Okay. $200. This will be. Oh, I gotta. $200. This will be. I gotta resize. The final reenactment. So it's a season finale of the '92 story, but it's gotta catch.
I'm not telling the goddamn story again! I don't care if it's $1,000, you son of a bitch!
Perry, you're Wario, and Wario is RC. Me, Tom, I'm Mario, and Mario is Perry. And it's the '92 reenactment. By the way, this is the very last time. This is the last time.
Evil, satanic, demented motherfucker And I'm gonna end this fucking stream tonight!
I answered an ad in the Penny Saver. I got an ad, and I was a doctor, and I was on set, and I was a hugging and kissing all the beautiful women. And then I saw the Shannon Doherty lookalike, and she's getting on the freeway. And then the next morning, my phone rings.
It's Randy Callahan. Get your ass.
No, you're not Wolfman Jack. You're not. You're Wario. It's
I
me.
am Wario, you sons of bitch. You gotta do me a favor.
Select your player.
What?
Yahoo! What's the favor? I do anything. I want to be in this business.
You either suck on my dick, or I suck at yours and you jerking me off. Are you understanding me?
Here we go. I'm a tired.
You're supposed to spank my monkey now.
Oh, I'll do that too. Let's go.
Ah,
Ooh. Oh.
I am done for the evening, you motherfucker!
No, we gotta get through this.
I'm done! I'm fucking done!
We're Wario as Christina Applegate.
I love the camera shit.
It is Tony Cox's birthday. Would you like a piece of cake?
Well, thank you very much, but I'm not interested in any cake. Thank you very much.
Please take my cake. Please, I did a lot of things to come here. It's such an honor to be on this set. I just blew a Wario yesterday. Please, take the cake and make me feel so good. I'm Italian. Please don't turn down.
Motherfucker, shut your mouth! I wasn't
Game
like that.
over.
I was very kind. She said no for fucking first time, and that was it. Fucking asshole.
Game over. That's a great job, Garrett. Thank you. That's a great job. Yeah. It's part of me, like, I hate when he can't stay in character, but at the same point, it's like he just has to correct it. Like, you know, I guess if he rolled with it, it wouldn't be as good. But like, yeah. Oh man. And I also, the fact that he doesn't know who Mario is, doesn't know that. I was trying to, like, the part where I was going like, ooh, I was trying to go for when Mario gets burnt by fire, in like Mario 64, where he's like, oh, you know, I can't really do that, but that's what I was trying to go for. Not my best Mario, by the way, but yeah, that's a good condensed highlight. But yeah, it's just like him. I guess I forget what was the other time where we were role playing something, and he's like, "It wasn't like that at all." Like he has to completely break it. No boxes will be installed in my apartment. I know. Oh, thanks, Gary. Yeah, no, it's an okay Mario. I'll say that. But I if I really have time to focus on, I could do a pitch perfect one. And that wasn't pitch perfect. But thank you. I was trying to stay true to Mario and not be too wordy, but there came a point where I had to be a little more wordy with Mario. 'Cause what I love about Mario in the Nintendo world is he doesn't talk a lot. Like they still, even though this day and age they can obviously have full dialogue, but still in their games it's mainly text based. But he'll say little things like oh. Hey, good morning, Black Metals skinhead. Just woke up as usual. Yeah, and like I really wanted to work in the line. I couldn't find it. I just couldn't find a place for it. But there's the famous Mario line in 64. I know it's not this. You know he doesn't say this, but it sounds like it. Where he goes, "So long, gay Bowser." You know, he's saying "so long, Bowser," but it comes out as like "so long, gay Bowser" for some reason. Fanny says, "Can you imagine if he was actually super into the streams and would allow me to send over people to install question mark blocks, and he would go around happily punching them? Wow. Yeah, that would be boring. That would be boring. That would be pretty boring." Yeah, and the guy, I forget the guy's name, the guy who does the voice for Mario, he does Mario, Luigi, and he does Wario. And Waluigi. And I think he does maybe a couple others too. He just nails it. He just nails it. It's just the perfect dose. And I'm an unabashed Mario fan. So I've played all those games numerous times. Except I swear the one game I've never played, the one console game. Well, I never finished Sunshine, but I didn't quite like Sunshine. But Charles Martinet, thank you. Yeah, really talented guy. And I'm a voiceover guy myself, so I appreciate what other people do. But I've never played Super Mario Galaxy 2. I just had checked out of like the Wii at the time, and I was doing it. I was going back to school. There was a lot of things I was doing at the time. I just didn't. It just came out at a time where I just wasn't into any of it. So that's something. And I was really bummed out that they didn't include that in the 3D All Stars package that came out last year, because I was looking forward to playing it. So I never got. That's the one game I still haven't played. But I don't want to play it now because I want them to remake it. I don't want to play it with like the gimmicky Wii controls. And I really like. Part of me wants to like end the stream so I can watch a Taxi Driver. I'm still thinking about Taxi Driver like an hour later after we talked about it. I don't know why it just keeps popping in my head. Can we expect Nintendo product giveaways new season? I like that. I like doing that. I like doing the giveaway. I would like to do more of that. Figure out a way. I think there's a good possibility that we can actually get some real sponsors on here and do stuff like that. Galaxy 2 is great. It's a crime they didn't put on 3D. Yeah, it's just so annoying. I think they rushed it. I think they just rushed it. They should have had it on there. It's not complete. And it's weird. You know what's weird is I thought that for sure, because they had that stupid thing where they only had that collection until March for the 35th anniversary, and then they pulled it. And I thought for sure they would offer those games individually, like on the store to buy. And you can't do it. You can't do it. They haven't done it. It's just crazy. Do a Discord Taxi Driver watch party. Maybe we can do that. What's the deal with Discord and copyright? Like, people can just stream whatever and it's fine? And the last time I saw a Taxi Driver was actually in the theater. They played it in the theater like about 5, maybe more than 5 years ago. I don't remember now. That's the last time I saw it, though, on the big screen. It was fantastic. I actually saw it in the city, like it kind of near Times Square, and it's always weird. I guess you got to be in a major city for this to happen, but it's weird to be sitting in a theater where the movie takes place, like right outside where the theater you're seeing it in is. And it's happened a couple of times in New York, and it's happened a couple of times in LA, where I've been in a movie theater watching a movie, and there's a scene in the movie that takes place like right outside where the movie theater is. Very strange. We're talking about Taxi Driver, the game on Dreamcast. No, that's Crazy Taxi. But good too. It has its own merits. Maybe I missed it, but any thoughts on the new Matrix trailer? No, we didn't talk about it. I saw it. I didn't love it. I am so far removed from being interested in the Matrix, anything Matrix. I still love the first film. I think the first film still stands on its own, despite how bad the previous 2 sequels were. This one seems weird. It seems like some kind of alternate timeline, time jump thing that seems kind of pointless to me, honestly. And it doesn't have Lawrence Fishburne, and doesn't have that main bad guy. I can't think of his name. The guy that's in like the Hobbit movies. I don't know. I forget his name. He was in Captain America. He was Red Skull in Captain America. His name's not coming to me, but he's not in it. But it's just it feels very unnecessary to me. It feels very Disney Star Wars in a way. It's just an unnecessary epilogue to cash in on something, or maybe they just want to redo, like have a sequel that doesn't suck. You know, because everybody slams those sequels. Maybe they just want to do one that's not terrible. But yeah, there's no pull, there's no pull in it for me. But yeah, first Matrix still great at the time it blew my, yeah, mine too. I remember seeing that in the theater, and it was kind of like you were going to see like Johnny Mnemonic or something like that. Like some, it was a Keanu Reeves sci-fi movie. I saw it opening weekend, opening night. I saw it just because the trailer looked cool. I didn't know what it was, but I expected it to be like any '90s sci-fi action movie. And man, that movie just blew me away, blew me away. And it stands on its own. You don't have to have any sequels to that movie. In fact, if you're showing it to somebody new, I would say just show them the Matrix. Don't bother seeing the sequels. The sequels just get caught in the weeds. It's like I say to Perry all the time, you're getting caught in the weeds. The sequels get caught in their own weeds. And it's just, they forgot why the Matrix was so great. But yeah, I just, it didn't grab me in any way. And where's Lauren? You know, where's Lawrence Fishburne too? But not that I would care if he was even in it. Watch Matrix 4 or pay for Howard Stern's $7,200 invoice. Well, yeah. I probably would go with watching Matrix 4, but I'm not going to rush out to see it. I'm not going to see it. I don't think so. Unless it's one of those movies where I'll see it if somebody I trust gets back to me and tells me I should see it. Like it's worth a thing. I think Neo is the one. It would make sense if they put him back in the Matrix and wiped his memory so he can protect them. But didn't he die? Didn't he like sacrifice himself in the third movie? I kind of remember that. I only saw them once each, the sequels. I saw the second one in the theater and the third one in the theater, and both were equally terrible. But the first Matrix is one of the best in theater experience. I think we've talked about in theater experiences, the experience you have in a movie theater, in a crowded movie theater, where whatever it is, it's just something that a magical thing that you remember. I remember seeing The Matrix, and it came out in like April of '99, like just before the Phantom Menace, before like that summer really kicked off, and it just, man, it left an impact on me when I saw it, and I couldn't wait for the sequel. When I heard they were doing a sequel, I was like, oh, I couldn't wait. And then when I saw it, I was like, ooh, they shouldn't have done this. Number two, I couldn't even tell the difference between Matrix 2 and 3. They're so they're just, and I have no interest in revisiting either one. I remember that ridiculous fight with Agent Smith that was so over the top. That it was pretty, like, just eye-rolling. Phantom Green says, I saw Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, still a movie I have yet to see, and The Matrix in the theater with my dad before he passed. Great memory. That's an awesome memory. Yeah, that's great. You know, you're not going to get that watching things at home. That's a good point. Matrix was a lot of people's first DVD. I think it was my first DVD, too. That was a big showcase DVD. That's a good point. I'm sure targeted ads bring you in like they do to Perry to Cafe Lou. Good Lord. See, but like the whole thing with like the best Matrix thing, like Matrixy thing, like the fight is like at the end when Neo kind of realizes like what he's capable of, and he's just like swatting bullets away and like kicking ass. It's just an incredible moment in that movie that movie earns. That movie earns that moment, and it's like such a great, like Neo as a character in the movie has a great arc as a protagonist. Like he has a great arc as a character, And that's the problem with any sequel is when like the first movie has a great arc. Even like you look at like Back to the Future sequels, I don't. That's why they're not as good as the first film because you have this great character arc that gets paid off in a spectacular way, and then what do you do in the sequel? Like you gonna re-arc them, or are you just gonna kind of remake the first one? You know, it's like where do you go from there? Like writing way, it's just I don't know. Oh, that's cool. First rated R movie in the theater is always important. First rated movie in the theater was Terminator 2 with my aunt. That's cool. I think T2 might have been my first rated R movie that I went to by myself, and like I had to sneak into it, of course, because I wasn't 17. But it's one of those things where there's certain sequels that ruin the first movie. Even if the first movie's good, the sequels can ruin it. Matrix 2 and 3 don't ruin the first movie for me. It takes a little bit off the top. Like it slices a little bit off the top for me, knowing that they exist. But that's still it's still a fantastic movie. That movie's Teflon. The first Matrix, and I don't care how this fourth one's going to be or whatever. Nothing's going to change how great that first movie is. Absolutely nothing. T2 blew me away too. I mean, I know it's so ridiculous to say that at this point because it's such an amazing movie, but I didn't know anything about. I saw the trailer for T2, but I had no idea. Like I didn't know going into T2 that Schwarzenegger's Terminator was going to be a good guy. Like I didn't know that. Like so seeing it like play out in a theater, packed theater was just an amazing experience. And it was so good I saw it twice in the same day. I think I've done that for like 2 movies in my entire life where I loved it so much. I saw like an early afternoon film and then me and my friends, we snuck into a later showing the same day, same theater. And the second time was good, but it wasn't quite as good as the first one. Quest for Fire was my first R-rated movie, I think, in the theater. Wow. That I remember that being a big deal, that movie. I remember the soundtrack being a big deal. Quest for Fire. I've never seen it though. You know, I've never seen. You mentioned Fire in the Sky. That's another one I've never seen. I've never seen Fire in the Sky. I never saw like there's certain sci-fi movie like '90s sci-fi movies that people like. I've never saw Contact either, the Jodie Foster movie. And I know people rave about that. I think that's on my list. Aladdin is your first movie. I straight up love Aladdin. Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie by far. Not even a contest. I love Aladdin. I think it still holds up. Land Before Time. First movie I saw in a theater was Pinocchio. Yeah, obviously a re-release. That's the first movie I ever saw. And I still have vague memories of it. I know the exact theater I went to, which is long gone. And I remember being really freaked out at the scene where they turn into donkeys. Exorcist and Shining were the only movies to scare me, but I saw them too. See, I don't find Shining scary at all. I don't. I found this. I mean, we've talked about it probably to death, but I found the sequel, Doctor Sleep, more scary than The Shining, which is probably crazy. Michael Douglas fan? Yes, absolutely. I love Michael Douglas. And do I believe in ghosts? No. I've said this. I don't believe in ghosts. But I'll believe in ghosts when I see one. If I ever like I'm not like I don't. When I say I don't believe in ghosts, I don't close my mind off to the fact that they could exist. I just don't think they do. But if I see one, I'll be like, okay, I believe in ghosts now. Like, if I'm in a creepy hotel and there's like, you know, and if I'm sure I'm not dreaming, then I'll believe in ghosts. Like, I'm willing to believe, but I just haven't seen one. It's one of those things I need to experience it to believe in it. I don't take other people's word. That's a great question, Fanny Green. Do you remember the day you realized you weren't a kid anymore? Mine was the day I saw Ninja Turtles 3 in the theater. That's a great one. Yeah, there's experiences like that for sure. You know, I have a distinct memory of hanging out with some friends, like doing like, whatever stuff you did. Like on a Saturday afternoon, it was like the winter time, and we would walk around or go to the mall or do normal things, and then sometimes do like troublemaking things. And then I remember being with my friends doing it, and I just having this almost out of body experience, be like, I'm not into this anymore. Like I'm not, like, I'd rather be doing something else. I'd rather be reading a book, something like that. It's not a distinct memory like seeing Ninja Turtles 3. I don't have a distinct one, but I have moments like that where I'm like, yeah, I'm not into this anymore. Or like having toys, like G.I. Joes or like, whatever. G.I. Joe is probably the best example because that's the one I think I carried on the most. And then there was a period of time where they were just in my parents' basement. I went downstairs one day and I looked at it, and I looked at them as not toys but clutter and mess. And I saw all the stuff that I had. I'm like, what am I going to do with all this shit? What am I going to do with all this stuff? That's another moment where I realized I was no longer a kid anymore, where these things didn't like appeal to me anymore. But that's true too, where like you see a show that you love or something like that, and then it just doesn't hit you anymore. It doesn't do it for you anymore. Like, ooh, yeah, I think I've moved on. That's a great question, though. I think everybody has their own answer to that. When did you realize you weren't a kid anymore? Was it a moment, or did it happen over time? Oh, the lady in the tub scene is very scary. I'll give you that. For an 11-year-old, for sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. With The Shining, absolutely. But I'm on record as saying I prefer Doctor Sleep, even though I know a lot of people didn't see it, and I know it didn't do very well, unfortunately. I think Doctor Sleep is the better movie, and I know that's just crazy to say. It worked for me more as a film than The Shining did. Movie I wish I saw in the theater with Kurt Russell. The Thing. Yeah, I never saw that in theater. I wish I could. Sometimes like when they do revivals or they do like movies, like older movies in a theater, I try to go and see. It's just not the same though. I want to actually go back in time to opening weekend and see The Thing with an opening weekend crowd when it came out in a packed theater. I think because now you just be seeing it with people that everybody's seen it. It's not the same. It's still nice to see it on a big screen, but part of that, seeing a movie in a theater, is so much a part of like the crowd you see it with, especially if everybody's seeing it for the first time together. Man, smile. I saw a ghost at a bar I bartended at once. Don't recommend. 0 to 1 star. Oh, and again, I'll never say anything to people that believe they saw ghosts. It's just I need to experience it personally. We'll call a movie you walked out so bad you walked out on. Mine is Wild Wild West with Will Smith. That's a bad. I've not seen it. I've seen pieces of it. I've not seen the whole movie. I think I've said it before. I walked out on Tommy Boy, which I'm not ashamed to admit. I hated it when I saw it in the theater. Garrett says he visited a haunted place in his hometown called Sunnyland. The story was it was a mental hospital for kids, and they got abused. A storm came and all the kids were in the basement and they drowned. Oh, that's awful. Creepy as fuck, but didn't see a ghost. There's a thing, Okay, so in Vegas, there's the hotel, which is now Bally's. If you know Vegas, where Bally's is now, which is across the street from the Flamingo and directly across from like Caesar's Palace. Um, Bally's used to be the MGM Grand up until about 86. That's where the MGM Grand was. And I think in about 1980, maybe, I think 1980, there was a really bad fire at the MGM Grand, which, again, not where the MGM Grand is now, in the original location where Bally's is. There was a fire that started in a diner that should have been easily prevented. But anyway, it was a bad fire that spread throughout the hotel, and a lot of people died. I don't know how many people died, but a pretty decent number. And a lot of people died in different ways. Some people died in the first floor, and some of the upper floors, like the people died in the stairwells. It was just like terrible, this terrible story. Anyway, I forget, this is a long time ago. I was reading this thing and then saw a YouTube video about it where people swear that like certain floors of like you can go there now to Bally's, like the 17th floor, X amount of people died, and in the middle of the night, people are in their room. Like people are in their room, like people who died are like checking on them or something like that. Like, oh, they're not bad. And then it always freaks me out to hear about children ghosts, because I have a really hard time with children in danger or bad things happening to kids. Like it just that gets me. And apparently several people on whatever floor in the middle of the night, again, the middle of the night in Vegas is subjective, but in the middle of the night, like there's this 4-year-old ghost crying for his mom, or something like that, and that always kind of freaks me out if like that was like real, like a kid in that situation. But so hearing stories about like regular like adult ghosts or old people ghosts, they don't bother me at all. Like if I really saw one, I wouldn't care. I'd like to think I wouldn't care, but a kid ghost would really chill me to the bone. Like a little kid ghost, like that's what I don't want to see. So part of me not believing in it is not wanting to think that it's real, because I don't want to experience a little kid ghost. But I saw the thing in Vegas like really kind of freaked me out, where it was like, oh, if you stay in this floor or whatever, and like multiple people like will write reviews. If you go on Yelp and look at Bally's, and if you scroll down enough, you'll start seeing people like, oh, my husband and I spent 3 nights and we stayed on the 24th floor, and all these things started happening, and water started running, without us. No, I don't know. Take it for what you will. But never saw the thing in the theater, but it's one of the first 5 VHS movies I rented. I remember the first VHS movie we ever rented. It was The Karate Kid. Karate Kid was the first VHS movie we ever rented. Can't get into new. I haven't seen the new He-Man series, so if you can't get into it, you're not alone. I've heard some really bad things about it. Shining's top 10 for you. That's cool. Yeah, my issue with The Shining, and I've said it many times, is I think Jack Nicholson is bad casting for it, which I know is sacrilege to say. I just think he's wrong for it. I think he's wrong for the part, and I think on a previous After Hours we were thinking about who would be a better cast, because the whole thing about The Shining in the book is it's supposed to be a regular guy that turns crazy, and Jack Nicholson is already crazy. In like the opening scene where he's interviewing, he's Jack Nicholson. He's already crazy. So the turn, it should be like a straight guy that turns into crazy. Although he's got problems. He's a drunk, and he clearly beats his kid, and he's a shitty husband and everything like that. But he shouldn't be batshit crazy, and I feel like he's a little too batshit crazy. So by the time he actually goes batshit crazy in the movie, not that big of a deal. So, but I've said that before. I'm more afraid of a psychopath breaking into my house than a ghost. Yeah, I'm with you, Garrett. I'm the same way. I'm not, because ghosts can't do, even if they're real, they can't do anything. What are they going to do? Scare you? I need to look up more about the Vegas fire. I wasn't aware. Yeah, there's a good YouTube video about it. There's a good YouTube semi-documentary about it. This guy did. Now, I can't direct you to the channel, but if you look up on YouTube, just look up Vegas fire. That might bring up a couple of things. There's been a couple of Vegas fires, but Vegas MGM Grand Fire 1980. Look up the MGM Grand Fire 1980 and the ghost thing that come out of it, and there's a lot of things. The Shining starring Alan Alda. Yeah, see, Alan Alda was a little too full of himself in 1980. I don't think he'd be a good thing. People had that. Jack Nicholson Joker is fantastic. It's weird, as hyped up as that was in looking at that through a 2021 lens. Jack Nicholson is actually underrated as the Joker, and he's excellent as the Joker. And I don't think you could have had. I mean, you could make the argument maybe might have been a little too old for it, but at the time. But I think he made a great Joker. I really think he made a great Joker. I'm a Nicholson fan. I like Nicholson in certain things. Ghosts or leftover energy. I can buy into that more than I can buy into ghosts as a thing. That's a fair point. That he says Shining's not faithful to the book, but you take Kubrick over King any day. I would too. King has a thing. King has a problem with endings. But yeah, I mean, you go through Jack Nicholson's, quality of work. I mean, it's just he's got a lot of clunkers. But yeah, it's funny now. I burnt out on Batman '89 when I was a kid, but I watch it now and seeing Michael Keaton play off of Nicholson's Joker, it kind of gives me goosebumps in a way. It's like, wow. It's like, and I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm gonna wait till I have like a decent like. I'm gonna have to wait a while, but I have to wait till I have some kind of decent setup where I can watch a movie and it looks good. Is The Departed Nicholson's last great movie? What did he do after The Departed? I know he hasn't been anything. I know he's kind of pretty much retired at this point, but what did he do after The Departed? Was there anything of note? He did a couple of small movies in like the late '90s, early 2000s. I think he directed a couple too. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. What was that Sean Penn movie he was in? He did a movie directed by Sean Penn. I remember liking it. Yeah, Mumbles just mentioned it. What was the name of that movie? Oh, was it More Than One? Maybe he did More Than One. Recently watched The Departed for the first time. Great film. Yeah, it's a good film. It's modern Scorsese, but it's it's still good. I don't rank it among like the best Scorsese movies. Scorsese is the way to say it. By the way, Scorsese is wrong. It's Scorsese, but I always have a hard time saying that. I agree with you. Yeah, I read a lot of Stephen King too. Stephen King was the thing to read too in like the '80s. If you were like a kid looking to read a book, read a Stephen King book because it's scary or whatever. But he's a very good writer. But he's a good and I am guilty of this too. He's a great writer, but a terrible editor. Like he doesn't writers fall into this trap where they think everything they write is precious, and I don't know what his situation is. Where if he has an editor, a copy editor or somebody that he works with, like, okay, you can trim this down. I mean, look at the book It. The book It is like twice the size of the Bible, for Christ's sake. It is enormous and it's just bloat. And I remember trying to read it many times and I could never get through it. Have I heard the theory about The Departed that both Matt Damon and Jack's characters were in the closet? No, I haven't heard that one. But I haven't seen it recently enough to even have an opinion on that. And I'm not a Matt Damon fan either. I like that for me. Other people make that movie. DiCaprio particularly, not Matt Damon. Mandelbrot woke up to see you guys are still at it. I'm glad because tonight's team was a TomB masterpiece. Wow, thank you. Well, a lot of the people have a hand in that too, but thank you. I appreciate that. Still laughing at the bear in the hallway, Wario. Kudos to all around. Yeah, thank you. Bear in the hallway goes to Belushi Sushi, and a lot of people contributed to that. By the way, Jesus Christ, who also gave for the thing, he's the one that actually. I know we talked about wanting to put him in a Wario costume for a long time, but he's the one that kind of lit a fire under my ass and said, "Hey, this game's coming out in September." I know we talked about Halloween, but he's the one that sent him the Wario costume. So, if you enjoyed the Wario, and I thought he looked great as Wario, hit up Jesus Christ, Jesus with a G, GZUS, and just give him some props because he's the one that sent Perry the Wario costume to begin with, and like really, kind of. I won't say pushed me, but motivated me to do the stream in conjunction with the release of the game. So, well, that's a great call, Mumbles. The Crossing Guard. I forgot. There's so many movies that are great and you liked that you forget about, and that's one of them. The Crossing Guard with Jack Nicholson and Angelica Houston. That's a good call. Wahlberg's great in The Departed. I'll definitely give you that. And I'm not usually all about Mark Wahlberg. Like I don't. I like him in some things and don't like him in other things. He's fantastic, and so is Alec Baldwin. Great in The Departed. And Martin Sheen adds a lot of levity to. You don't see Martin Sheen in many roles like that, and really roles anymore at all. But Martin Sheen is fantastic. Martin Sheen adds a lot of credibility to that movie and that role. He's really, really good. See, now I feel like I have to watch Departed again because I haven't seen it in a while. Another great Angelica Houston film is The Grifters with John Cusack and Annette Bening. If you've never seen that, that's a great early '90s movie about con artists, aka grifters. Great film. Because I think Martin Sheen was doing what was he doing, that TV show where he was the president, The West Wing. I never saw it. I've never really been into that, but I kind of always looked at Martin Sheen as like kooky, even though he's been in a lot of great movies. But man, he helps ground that movie because he's so right for that part, and he's good. And I don't want to get in, if you haven't seen it, I won't get into it, but he has some great pivotal moments in the film. Yeah, talking about Mandelbrot, talking about the Stand, the original versus the unedited one. Completely agree. Everybody needs a good editor. Any creative person needs a good editor, even if like just somebody, and I don't mean in a literal sense of somebody like physically editing your stuff. I mean like somebody that knows how to cut to the quick. And again, Garrett's very good at that. Garrett's a physical editor, but Garrett will cut something out that I like. Just like for example, like even like a PCL thing, which seems simple, but it's not. It's like knowing the beats of what's necessary for a wide audience to get into. And I will make the mistake many times of making something too long, or or not making something too long, but like presenting something in a way like, okay, this should go out there or whatever, and then it'll be cut by somebody very talented, and like, you know what, I would have really not done it this way, but now that I see it, this is the way it should be done. Like, that's it. And there's many examples of that. But Garrett, that's somebody like that who has an eye, and also being with comedy in particular, it's very hard to be a comedy editor, to edit comedy. It's one thing to edit like whatever sports highlights, let's say, but it's another thing to edit like comedy and get the beats of it and get everything across in a clip that's like a certain length. Because you got to look at it through the lens of somebody who's never seen it before, and you don't want a moment where they'd get bored. And that's why you need somebody like that, because it's definitely not me, because I'm not good at that. I mean, I am to a certain point. I can physically edit, but like to really get to the nitty gritty, and yeah, you're welcome, Gary. You deserve it. It's like he really knows how to get to the heart of something, and then cut at the right beats. It's almost musical, like editing comedy. There's a musical rhythm to it, and any good comedy, there's music. It's you got to have an ear for it, where this is the beat to cut on, this is the beat to cut into, and stuff like that, and it's not easy, but everybody, I don't care if you're a public speaker, I don't care what you do, you need, even if it's a friend that tells you you're rambling on too much at a bar, like, hey, you can shorten up that story. Everybody needs a good editor in any kind of creative endeavor or anything. Like, my dad needs a good editor. My dad, like, and I love my dad, but sometimes he'll call at the wrong time and he'll just give this long preamble. I'm like, hey, where's this going? What do you need? It's like I got to go over there tomorrow because I got to move a chair that he bought, like downstairs, and he can't do it by himself because it's big. But he tells me the whole story of like, your mother and I drove to the store, and we were looking at things, and we found this thing. We drove back, and then it gives me the whole thing. I'm like, well, what do you need? And I don't mean to be, like I'm being dismissive, but I'm just like, I'm in the middle of a million different things, and I'm like, hey, I need you to get to the thing. It's like, oh, well, I just need the chair to get back. And I'm like, okay, you could just say like, hey, Tom, we got this chair, and I need you to move it down, help me to move it downstairs. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow. But he turns into, and I love my dad to death, and he wouldn't be him without doing that. But myself included, I remember the first time I ever wrote for something and got paid for, wrote professionally, and being assigned an editor, and then and it was just an article. It was an article I wrote, and then the copy editor got back to me and corrected some grammar stuff, which is always embarrassing when somebody corrects your grammar. But it was rigid, AP style corrections, and then cut my stuff out. And again, you go through phases with, at least I do, go through phases where as I'm writing it, I love it. When I submit it, I hate it. When I read it back, I love it again or like it. Anyway, so this person cut out all my favorite. I was like, oh, how dare you? I was like, you cut, and I wrote them. It was like an email. I was like, hey, what about this part? It's like, well, it's not necessary to tell. It's like you do cover this again, and you're kind of repeating yourself down here. And I buttoned it up, and your closer was better as your opener, and I was like, God, this guy doesn't know anything what he's talking about, and I'll deal with it because I'm new here. But boy, I'm not working with this guy anymore. And then you get over yourself, and then I remember reading it and be like, wow, this guy was exactly right, because I read my original that I submitted versus the edited version, and it was night and day, and he made my work better. And that's really what you want with a good editor in any kind of any kind of form, any kind of format, whether we're talking about actual editing, like video editing or sound editing or whatever, you got cutting to the quick of anything, it just, and there's certain people that could be better storytellers if they cut themselves. And I'm speaking as somebody who rambles, clearly. So, TomB's dad sounds like mine. Asking what time to get serious. Yeah, you know what though? Like man, I think about that, and I was actually getting ready for the stream, and I was doing a couple other things. So I was kind of like, yeah, what's up, dude? What do you need tomorrow? And I always think about this. There's going to be, and I know a lot of people have already lost their parents or one of their parents, and I just think of the day where my dad's not going to be around anymore, and like how much I would cherish a phone conversation like that, where he tells me about him and my mom driving to go find a chair, and talking to the salesman and how they tried different chairs and things like that, and I should be cherishing those conversations. I shouldn't be trying to rush him to get to a point, so I look at it that way too. It's like how lucky we are to have them in our lives, and it's important, and to have conversations like that. So I try to appreciate that in the moment. It's not always easy though, when I got like my hands in a lot of different things, and or if I'm laser focused on something and the call comes in. My dad has this knack of calling me at the absolute worst times. Absolute worst times. Green, the bear attack in the hallway, which reminds me of the time in Palm Springs. Yeah, that's Perry. That's Perry to a T. Yeah, Perry needs an editor, and I try to be his editor, but yeah, you see how well that works. I think that's the thing that comes with age too, is like trying to appreciate things in the moment, or things that won't be, like things that won't be around. I mean, no matter how I cut it, no matter what fantasy world I want to live in, the truth is, I mean, I can't say it for certain, but the reality is, within the next decade, I'm going to lose my parents. It's just going to happen, and it's like you get to that point where you just do the math, and it's going to be very difficult for me. So I try to, thankfully, I know a lot of people don't have this, but I have a very, very good relationship with my parents, and I'm very thankful to them and everything. So I try to make every time I either see them or talk to them that it's a nice thing, or especially if like we're all together, like my sisters and everything, we try to make, I always try to get stories out of them that I haven't heard or something like that. So I'm very cognizant, more so than I've ever been in my adult life. So I try to have far more patience, but it's not always easy. Editing Perry is like cutting a Gordian knot. Yeah, it is. It's very, it's tough when you're doing a stream too, when you're live and he's going, he starts talking about one thing. Like there's times where I walk away. I think it happened Sunday maybe, where I walked away and he came back and he was rambling. And it's just like, oh, okay. He needs to cut off. Belly full of swans. Your parents are in their 70s, and don't have many friends your age who have both their parents. Yeah, same here. Like one of my best friends lost his dad like 12 years ago, and as I a lot of some of my contemporaries do, but a lot don't, and I God, yeah, I mean, geez, speaking of like 9/11, my dad was the fire safety director of the World Trade Center. The fire safety director, because he was an ex NYPD FDNY fire captain, and he had left by then, and he worked at a Deutsche Bank as a fire safety manager director, which is across the street from the Trade Center. And on 9/11, my sister Meredith had just moved to Chicago, so she was kind of being a pain in the ass and helped him move. He helped her move to Chicago. Had he not done that, had she not moved, he would have died in 9/11, because the person who he gave, not he gave, but the person that took over his former position at the World Trade Center, was a guy that I grew up with, because I grew up with his son. One of his close friends took over his job, and he died. And he's former FDNY as well, but he was a hero. He was in the second tower hit, the first one to come down, and there was a daycare center in there. And when all of the people in the building, all of the announcements were saying "stay in, stay in," he got all the kids out. He got all the day, because there's a daycare for parent, for people that worked in the building. There was a daycare in there, and he got all the kids out, and save them all. And then he went back in to make sure that to do whatever. And that's when the tower came down, and he didn't make it. But had my dad been in New York and had been working it there, he would have been there with him for sure, 100% sure. So my sister being a pain in the ass about demanding that my dad help her move to Chicago saved his life, but we lost. I knew a lot of people that were lost in 9/11, and it's a weird thing too, like comedy thing. Like there was a couple of comments tonight that were like jokey 9/11 stuff, and I was kind of really I really was. I was actually proud of Perry for getting offended at that, because look, I think it's fine to make fun of whatever you want, but I don't find 9/11 stuff funny, and maybe because I'm a little too close to it, and I know a lot of family friends that what do you say, passed away, murdered, like what do you say with that, like 9/11, like, oh, die, like I never know what to say with that, like, yeah, so it died in 9/11, you know what I mean, like it's such a, I don't know what to say, but yeah, so we, family, friends, that were like, fire department or whatever, I remember going to a lot of funerals, things like that. But my dad definitely would have been among the casualties for sure, 100%. So yeah. So anyway, it's weird to think that it's 20 years ago. Well, today really. Now it's 9/11 on all coasts. But yeah, it's just it's strange, because it doesn't feel. In many ways, it feels like 20 years. In many ways, it doesn't. Your parents are pushing 80. Yeah, my dad turned 80 in April, even though he doesn't look it, and he's in great shape. And my mom's in her 70s. They had me in their 40s. So the statement you made is something that I need to grasp a lot, Clipper. I know wholeheartedly that I do take them for granted. Yeah, and you know what? I took my parents for granted for a long time. But don't, because and it goes for anybody. It really goes for anybody in your life. It doesn't have to be a parent. It could be an aunt or uncle that's older. It's just like, there's gonna be a day, there's gonna be a time where they're not around, and you're gonna kill for if you could have a 2-minute phone call. Like there's times too, it's a weird thing, because it's like, well, I have a day where I'm not doing much or whatever, or I'm doing something but I can't be doing much, and I have this like momentary thought, and I'll be like, I could be spending time with my parents right now. I could be like at least just in their presence, because in years from now I'm not going to be able to have that option, and I will think back to all the times where I didn't see them where I could have. But then I can get a little too carried away with that too. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to move in with them. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's a very strange thing. Belly full of swan. Agree with on the nuance of like 9/11 jokes, and I don't have a single friend who was lost in 9/11. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to remove myself from it because you know I I have I I don't know. I just have there's so many people like people that I grew up with, like my dad's friends that like a number of names, and it's weird. I went to I went to the only because I had a friend in town that wanted to see it, the 9/11 memorial. I've never been there, like the 9/11, like the thing where they have the fountains where the towers used to be, and I don't know. I feel I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Anyway, I went and we were walking around and I started seeing I started reading names of the things, and then I got to my friend's dad's name, and it had this profound effect on me to see his name etched in the thing, and it's just like God, I mean, it really hit me hard because I know my dad carries some guilt about not guilt, again probably not the right word, but he vouched for his friend to take his old position, like this is the guy that should take my position. He left that in 90, geez, I think 99, I think, so 2 years prior. And my dad was also there in the first Trade Center attack, the explosion that happened in 93. That's when he first started working there. So yeah, it's just weird, like like I don't know. And I remember going to his funeral, and I hadn't known his son in a while, but we know each other, and I just remember the part where like you walk up to the front, you pass like the front pew where the family is, and I remember I couldn't even look him in the eye because I felt so guilty that like my dad is alive and your dad isn't, and my dad got your dad the job that ended up killing him in a way. And I'm sure that's not going through his mind, but I just remember feeling that, like, and this is in the days after. This is like the sixth funeral I had been to. So, and yeah, I agree with Belly Fusson. You should be able to joke about anything, including 9/11. I just don't find it funny. I just don't find it funny. But you feel free to joke about. I mean, joke about anything. I don't think anything's off topic. I just but we choose to find what we laugh at. We choose what makes us laugh. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. G Fresh says that he had experience with an older cousin who died unexpectedly, and you do anything to have another day with him. Yeah, I mean, that's it. So if you have people who are in your life, just spend as not as much time with you as you can, but at least be cognizant of the fact that nothing's permanent, and things are gonna change one day. But right now, you have these people in your life, and just appreciate the time that you have. As corny as that sounds, I don't know. As I get older, it definitely means something. Oh wow, Mom was that your mom just told you that she made made you the executor of their will. Yeah, my parents had a conversation with me and my sister are co-executives, and they asked me if I wanted stuff in the will. I was like, do we have to talk about this right now? And then my dad showed me where the will was and in the house and everything. Okay, I know I need to know this, but I don't really want to know this. Your second Thanksgiving without either parent. So yeah, they're up there in age. Hang on to it. It's a hit when they're gone, even when they can be a little annoying. I know, yeah, and I know it's gonna hit me real hard. It's gonna hit you. It's gonna happen to all of us one of these days, if it hasn't happened already. So yeah, I know it's gonna hit me hard. I know it. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do anything. don't remember that. Perry thinking that 9/11 happened in the early 90s. That must have been a momentary brain fart. Oh, Garrett just hugged his dog. Let's go. Hopefully you have many, 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 many years with your dog. But yeah, pets. It's a thing with pets too. It's a total. It's pets. By the way, pets completely play into this thing I'm talking about, where it's like, they're not gonna be around forever, and enjoy the moments you have. Because that's the thing about why I don't think I could ever have another dog, because there's gonna be that day. That's where you have you I don't want to say it, like the dog's gonna have to go away, and pass on to the next thing. And it's brutal. It's just brutal. It's brutal. I don't handle those things well, as you could probably tell. But yeah, I don't know. It's a strange it's a strange thing. It's a thing that I always think about. Pets stay around long enough just to get attached. Yeah, it's true. I'll be sad if Scaremaster bets it. I think Perry's going to be around for a while, but I, speaking of, not to get morbid, but the day when that happens, and I'm assuming, just based on math, that he'll pass away before I do. I will be devastated. I'll be absolutely devastated if something ever happens to him. So, not to say that I appreciate every moment with Perry, because I definitely don't, especially when we're doing tech time and I want to throw him through the window, but I do love him, and part of doing his channel is like to give, once we take care of all the other stuff that needs to get taken care of, I want to have him some kind of retirement fund and have a comfortable life, in his quote unquote golden years. I don't necessarily see him doing PCL in his 80s, but hey, maybe we will. Who knows? But yeah, I'll be that'll be, because he's such a huge part of my life. He's basically, like a family member, really. So that'll hit hard too. And it look, it's true for everybody, Like there's celebrities that pass that hit hard for me. None recently, but over time for sure. Glad you and everybody involved brought Perry back to the limelight. Yeah, I am too. even though I'm sure he's gonna wake up hating my guts. Johnny asks, "Hey, how was the stream?" As disguised himself at the end of Wario. It was good. It was a good stream. Without exact numbers, how close is Perry to getting out of debt? Pretty good. It depends. It depends on what you consider debt. Like debt to like banks and like credit cards, pretty close. But the debt was overreaching. Debt. Rent. Bills. He took out credit cards he didn't tell anybody about. And then it's more like his cousin at this point, and then me also, but I am kind of last in line, and I have uneasy thoughts about debt as far as he's concerned, because I didn't do it. I never ever imagined that I would get compensated back after a certain point. So I have uneasy thoughts about it, but to be perfectly honest. But to answer your question, I would like to think by the end of the year things could get on a trajectory where it's just like, okay, this is his gig, and whatever he makes, and then we could turn it into a thing where it's like a operating business type of thing. But yeah, it's still crazy to me to think that would be a possibility, that he would be out of that, because again, it's not that long ago. Not that long ago. I don't want to get into a whole thing about it, but not that long ago that it that it was just such a non possibility. A year ago today, it'd be unfathomable to me to be in this position that not only do I not have to worry about him, paying basic bills and shit, but that things would actually be going really well. They'd just be insane. I'd believe in a ghost. I'd believe in ghosts more than I believe that. So, but that's thanks to everybody that's participating in PCL. For sure. He owes Tom's Apple shares. Yeah, I've kissed those goodbye. And really, stocks is not my forte. I stay in things when I should get out, and I get out of things that I should stay in. So, I'm an idiot. Oh wow, Daythinker. One of the high school coaches that passed away suddenly when I was still in school during a student-teacher game. The whole school was there. Had helped me early in the morning of 9/11, and that way approached me and helped me stay calmer than if I hadn't that day. And he discussed his brother visiting the towers a year or two before, so he was trying to keep things on the positive, even though it was a very serious situation going on. Yeah, that's invaluable if you have that. Yeah, it sounds like I know. It's like gambling. So I just listen to people that I think know more than me, and I'm not always right. In fact, I'm wrong most of the time. And then when you work hard, like I've had, I don't know about everybody out there, but I've had my own business and stuff in the past, and I know how hard it is to work for a certain amount of money, and then to risk it on on a stock or invest in this. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, because it's like I know how hard it took me to get this, and I don't want to, and it could disappear in hours, minutes, and I don't, as much as the reward thing is on the table, the risk is just most of the time too great. So I have that mentality about it. Same thing with gambling sport. I remember I had a friend I worked with that was way into sports gambling, was always trying to get me to put money on whatever game, and the truth is he was really good at it. And every Monday morning, I'm not a football guy at all, really. And I remember it was I think it was 2008 when the Giants went on that run and they beat the Patriots, and I'm not a Giants fan or anything, but it was just like, hey, it's time to bet on the Giants, time to start, time to put some money on the Giants, time, like, you're crazy, dude. He's like, you're crazy. He's like, you got $1,000 in the bank, and I'm like, yeah, I think. He's like, just give me 1,000. Just give me 1,000. I'll turn it into whatever. I'll turn it into 12. Yeah, next week. And then I came close, but I was just scraping by with things. I just can't. I can't do it. I was like, what happens? I can't just lose this. And Monday morning would come, and the Giants had won or whatever. He's like, dude, he's like, you just love losing money. You just like, he's like, and he would add up things that he's like, if you would have did what I said 6 weeks ago, you'd be 40K up right now. Whatever, I'm making that up. It wasn't maybe not much, but it was like he did well, and then he bet on them all the way. Did well, but I think what guys like that is, he had a good run, and then and I lost touch with him over the years, but I would have to imagine that it gets you eventually, and like maybe he had a bad run, and then loses everything that he puts into it. That's the way I think about it. It's like, the circle of life with gambling. It's like it all goes back to them eventually. But part of me thinks, oh man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I'd had the balls. I only have the balls to do it in a time travel sense. Like, oh, I wish I can travel back in time and place that bet, and knowing the outcome, of course. That's the only way I want to do it, because that's a sure thing. But whatever. By the way, Garrett's going to be at Perry's next Thursday for Perry's bikini wax and sushi, not sushi, spaghetti samurai. So that should be an interesting double feature, and maybe next Thursday there'll be a pop on like little stream. Yeah. Oh my God, the Back to the Future gambling or sports almanac is the greatest thing ever. The greatest thing ever. Like I can you imagine having that? It's just like, oh my God. That's what prevents me from gambling, is I want to know the answers. Didn't involve betting, but one of my fantasy football things, the year Tom Brady got injured early in the year, I had actually benched him. I felt like the game against Kansas City would have been a blowout in favor of the Patriots, that Brady would have rested, and I think he got injured in the first quarter that year. That's interesting. Why does Perry think of Brazilian wax? I just think he hears wax. I just think he thinks it's just pulling hair out. You know, I think he's just like pulling hair off. I don't think he knows exactly what he's in for. He's certainly not going to be too pleased when he finds out who's going to be doing the waxing. I'll just put it that way, because we've had a really hard time finding a place that'll allow us to film like an establishment, and then also even the people that will come to your home when you say like, yeah, we're gonna film it for a stream, for a YouTube channel or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, not interested. So yeah, it's it should be interesting. No, Garrett's not going to be the one doing it. Garrett's going to be documenting it. Garrett's not going to be the one doing it. He also thinks a Brazilian butt lift is a waxing. That's probably true. That's probably true. But we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I want him to pop up at least a couple of times over the break, and it don't have to be long. He can just pop up for go live for I don't know, an hour or so. I wanted to see if he could do it on his own, but there's just no way. There's no way he can do it on his own. But yeah, it should be good. I just I think he could use some time. I think he could use the downtime, and the thing though, I was actually talking to his buddy Dirk today, just because I wanted to thank him. He sent me a shirt and check in on his friend who's not doing well, unfortunately. But he made a good point. He was like, I'm really proud of Perry, because Perry actually has I know people shit on his work ethic, but he takes the stream very seriously. He's like, he had asked him to do something like a couple weeks ago, and I didn't hear it. And Perry said, no, I can't. I have my stream. And he's always there. And I agree with that. He does. He takes the stream very seriously, regardless. But I think he can definitely use the time, just a little bit of time. Everybody needs to recharge their batteries. I know I sure as hell do. I definitely need a little recharge. Am I a fan of Impractical Jokers? No, but I don't know them that well. A really good friend of mine went to school with those guys and knows all of them. But no, I don't. I don't really. I've never really been exposed to them. I know of them, and I know, but I don't. I've never seen it. Phantom Green's going to sleep. I'm going to join you very soon. Uh, Thanks for the rad season. Have a good break. Thanks for the Wario contest prize. You're very welcome. Enjoy it. And maybe I'll do Subscriber Sunday next year. Oh, yeah, definitely do Subscriber Sunday when we come back. Definitely do Subscriber Sunday. Please, I love first-time callers for Subscriber Sunday. So, yeah, I mean... We'll see you next season. I actually probably should wrap it up anyway. It's 6 a.m. here in New York, and it's over 9 hours. It's over 9 hours. But yeah, I wanted to go out. You know, there's things that could have broke differently tonight that I would have liked. You know, but I got to accept certain things with Perry. There was a lot of people pushing for him to go to Denny's at the end, and I hesitated at that because we just did it on Sunday, and I thought Sunday's trip was so good, and I don't want to overdo it, although I know him going out in public as Wario would be great, and we can do that at some point, but I really wanted him to do a better job on that Wario song at the end, but I think, you know, again, with Friday nights, it gets late, and I know he gets gassed at a certain point, especially when he's screaming and yelling for a long time. So, but anyway, I should call it here and say goodnight, guys. Thank you. Like, by the way, this is kind of the end of the summer season, whatever we're calling it. That kind of started at the end of TomB week and kind of ran through. And I just want to thank everybody that's been, you know, I know it's not easy to hang with things in the summer. Everybody's got things to do in the summer, and I think now heading into the fall, things are going to change a little bit, you know, for the good. But I want to thank everybody that really, even if, you know, and I know it's hard to keep up. It's really hard to keep up with this stream 3 days a week, and the people that do, I'm so grateful for it and thankful for it, more than I could articulate right now, because I know how hard it is for me, and I just, you know, I know it's hard to keep up, and I hear that all the time from people, like, hey, I really want to get into the streams, but it's hard to keep up with you know, with things. So I know people have other options on what to do with their time and money and things. So I want you guys to know I really appreciate the dedication that you guys have shown. And I really sincerely mean that. I'm not just saying that because that's the kind of thing to say. You know, it's the diehards that are here in the summer. You know, on a sunny July Sunday afternoon, and people are tuned into PCL. It's very gratifying and really great. And I know Perry appreciates it, even if he doesn't always articulate that. But yeah, Halloween is next month. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Enjoy your time off and speedy recovery for whatever you haven't done. Yeah, I'm having a very minor thing done. It's super. It should be no big deal. But thank you, I appreciate that. Everybody enjoy the break, and I think you guys need your batteries recharged too. I really do. The diet, like, you know. And I think, you know, we'll all be craving it when you know, that Friday comes along, and, you know, we start up the stream and we got the pre-show going. I think there'll be a nice little juice and excitement in the air on all accounts, you know, with you guys, me, Perry. I think we'll all be ready, raring to go. Thanks, Mubbles, I appreciate that. It's a very, very, very small thing. I don't want to, you know, again, I probably would have never mentioned it if it wasn't for Perry blurting out my business, but that's the way it's always going to go with him. 2 weeks of the show, Pesci Funny Farm and Cancer Center. Yeah, pray, thoughts and prayers for TomB with that double feature. But yeah, it'll be fun. And I think and again, it'll give me some time. It's hard sometimes to think about like creative directions of like switching things up or whatever, even technical things to switch things up when it's like day to day. It's like the only 2 days you have is like Monday, Tuesday, and I have other work to do. And then like you have Wednesday, and then you have that one Thursday, and then Friday hits you, and then you have Saturday. And honestly, I spent half of Saturday recovering from Friday, which I'm sure I'll be doing tomorrow, as most people here. I'm not functional on a Saturday until like midday, if that. So it'll be nice to I don't know, have a Sunday free, I guess. But anyway, I love all you guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. But again, we'll pop up. I guarantee you there'll be a pop-up stream. I was toying with the idea of doing a mobile Monday, either this Monday or next Monday. I can't promise that, but the idea is there. We'll see. I'll see. I'll have to play a lot of things by ear, because I can't make any guarantees. But that's how it is. So thanks again, guys, and thanks for all the PCL love and support. It does not go unnoticed, and it does not go unappreciated by any means. And please don't take Perry as the final say on how he treats people when he's all worked up. Deep down he loves everybody, and I think you heard some genuine moments of sincerity out of him tonight, where I think. There's one point where he's like, you fucking ass. I fucking love you, even though you guys are assholes. I love you. He was kind of saying it under his breath, but that little moments like that give you a glimpse into how he feels about it. So, anyway, good night, guys. Have enjoy your football. Enjoy whatever you're doing on Sunday this weekend. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.